When was the last time you wowed yourself, created something new? Leadership is practice, not position, and it requires creativity. Sometimes, as grown-ups with big responsibilities, we forget to tap into it. The Artisan Leader helps you do just that. Through coaching, consulting, and teaching, they meet you where you are in a judgment-free space to help you make your mark on the future of your company. Their consulting expertise is leadership development and workplace culture, and they provide team building, strategic planning, and leadership workshops to companies focused on caring well for their people. To learn more, visit theartisanleader.com. Well, good morning and welcome back to the Chamber Vibes podcast. Foster Garrett is with you today. Kayla's not here. I might start being your solo host. I might have graduated to finally doing that. So I hope you guys are ready to hear my voice every week. So we have some awesome things coming up. As always, you guys know that we're busy. If this is your first time listening to the Chamber Vibes podcast, you're about to know that we do things. The very first thing that we have coming up is actually tomorrow. You can't come to it, but I'm going to tell you about it anyways. It's our annual gala, which is our biggest fundraiser of the year and our biggest event of the year. We're going to be at Cedar Oaks Farm from 5:30 to 8. And we are going to have a marvelous time with some fine dining from Blackwater Creek Catering. There's going to be a huge silent auction. Over 40 businesses have donated to it. And that's just off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more. We're also going to be revealing our Excellence in Business Awards winners for the very, very first time. So we have plenty of candidates nominated. I think there's around 25 businesses or individuals nominated for those awards. And there are 6 awards: Large Business of the Year, Small Business of the Year, Agribusiness of the Year, Citizen of the Year, our Rising Star Award for businesses that have been started in the past 2 years and are outstanding and upcoming, and then finally our Nonprofit of the Year Award. So all of that will be announced for the very first time tomorrow. We are greatly looking forward to it. It has been a very busy past couple of days, weeks, years, whatever. At the Chamber, we are always busy. But yep, really looking forward to that. So keep an eye out to know who the winners are because, don't you want to know? But the next thing that we have that you can actually come to is actually this Saturday. If you haven't heard of the Peaks Retreat and Adventure Center, it is a facility that's been open for a little over a year in Thaxton. They have a zip line, a ropes course, a pond where they do kayak and canoeing lessons. They have a pool. It is ridiculous. They're putting in glamping tents. And what we're going to celebrate this Saturday at 9 a.m. Is a ribbon cutting for their brand new 9-hole disc golf course. So disc golf is like a really cool thing for Bedford County. There are so many different disc golf courses. We actually have one at Falling Creek that was built by a pro disc golfer, which, yes, is a thing. And we're going to be at the Peaks Retreat for this disc golf thing, ribbon cutting, on Saturday. And they're going to have a tournament after for beginner disc golf. And that's only $15 to sign up for. If you haven't been to the Peaks Retreat and Adventure Center, you really do need to go because it is so cool. And they actually don't have a ton of events of their own. They are like a facility that people can rent out for. And they actually have an open house coming up for that as well. If you want to see their facility, use it for team building, conferences, whatever. So yeah, this Saturday, September 16th at 9 a.m., come to the Peaks Retreat and Adventure Center in Thaxton, Virginia. It's going to be awesome. You can find out more information on our website and theirs. And they have a great event on Facebook with all of the information you need to know for the tournament itself. And the pool will be open that day. So go on their page, learn some more, sign up for some things if you're interested. But mostly just come out and check it out with us at 9 a.m. The next thing that we have is a favorite. It is Alive at 5 at Beals Beer on September 28th. So yes, come out and hang out with us. Have a beer with us at Beals. This is our after hours networking event. Various members in our chamber can host a live at 5 or an Align Before 9, which is the morning networking version. And it's free and open to the public. There's no registration necessary. We really encourage people, bring a friend, bring family, bring a coworker. It is going to be really great. We have some regulars that come to all our networking events that kind of make everybody feel at home and at ease. And we'll have our ambassadors there too. So don't be nervous about networking. I feel like that's like the word that tips off everybody's anxiety or a need to work after hours. But no, just come hang out with us, have a beer, have some food. I'm sure that they'll have some cool stuff for us to do there. Bill's is awesome. So especially if you haven't been there at all or in a while, this is your opportunity. So come out with us September 28th. That's 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Right on Grove Street, right off the street where we are right now. And the very last thing I will mention, on October 4th, we will have our Career and Technical Education Expo in partnership with Bedford County Public Schools. So this is an event that I have been really excited for a really long time. They used to do the CTE Expo back in the day before COVID. And of course, when COVID hit, everything fell apart. So we're starting a lot of things up for the first time this year since 2019. This event, though, this is for all the 7th graders in Bedford County. It's taking place at Susie Gibson Science and Technology Center, which some of you may remember as being called BSTC. And it's to introduce students to trades careers and also all the different types of technical and agricultural opportunities for them in the county. Bedford County is actually one of the top schools in the state for all its different technical and agricultural opportunities. And a lot of people just don't know that or know really what our area has to offer in terms of those like education and career opportunities. So 7th grade is when BCPS starts career exploration education. So we're trying to kind of tie that in together, show kids what is out there, have a great time, have businesses come out to talk to the kids that either match up with an educational pathway at Susie G. So if you go to like the HVAC program, you can work at Woolridge, Carter's Heating and Cooling, et cetera, like something like that. But we also have an outdoor portion for any like heavy machinery, et cetera, businesses that want to come hang out with the kids and talk them up about, their what you do and your business. But don't necessarily connect to the pathways offered at Susie G specifically. So it's going to be a great event if you're interested in coming out and, showcasing your business and talking to the kids. Let me know. You can send me an email at marketing@baccva.org. That's probably the easiest way. You can also call the office. I'll say the phone number for that at the very end, so you have to listen to the whole podcast. But something else we're trying to do for the CTE Expo, we would love to give these kids a shirt. There's around like 800 7th graders. So that is a lot of kids, guys. So if you're interested in helping us out and being a t-shirt sponsor, it's only $150. Your logo goes on the back of the shirt. We do have to order by this Friday, September 15th. So if you're interested, again, send me a little email, call us, let me know. You can also go on our website. And there's a whole page for the CTE Expo. It's under the events tab. You can go to the calendar or you can go to signature events, and there's a drop down tab for all of our remaining signature events for the year. So you can find out more about that there, and you can even just go in and not even send me a little email and sign up for the sponsorship. But yeah, we would love some more help with that. We haven't quite hit our sponsorship goal, and like I said, we're trying to order all that stuff by this Friday. So please consider being a sponsor. All right. Well, I think I've talked for quite enough time, honestly. We have some great things coming up. As always, you can go on bedfordareachamber.com and go to the events tab and see everything, because that is not even half the things we have remaining for the year. Maybe a fifth. All right. Well, we're getting into the actually interesting part of this podcast, the reason the podcast exists. Well, good morning and welcome to Chris Younger with Boone Tractor.
Good morning, Foster. Thank you for having us. Super excited to be here and to go through the next little bit with you guys.
Awesome. Well, I'm so grateful that you're here with me this morning. It's nice to finally meet you.
Yes, absolutely. We've exchanged a lot of emails.
Yes, we have.
A lot of back and forth, but to be able to sit down and see face to face is super nice.
Yes, it makes a difference. And you are repping Boone Tractor super hard right now.
Well, yeah, we show up. We got the Boone water bottle sitting here, my shirt, my hat. So we figure out how to put the Boone Tractor name out there for sure.
Heck yeah.
So.
I hope Woody's getting some good videos of this part.
Absolutely.
Well, Chris, before we kind of jump into the question portion, can you just give me some background about yourself and about Boone Tractor?
So a little bit about me. I've been with Boone Tractor for a little over a year now. I started with Boone last June. Prior to that, I've got a lot of retail and agricultural background, so tremendous amount of customer service. So that's kind of where my background comes from. I started on the farm at a young age, grew up on the farm, and with my great grandfather, my grandfather farmed, a little bit, not as much as my great grandfather, but my roots on the farm started young. So the fit into agriculture has been perfect for me. I did a little time with deer as well. Don't want to say that too loud. Don't want nobody to know that, especially being with New Holland and Massey Ferguson now. But so my roots with agriculture run fairly deep. So, but Boone, man, what a fantastic place to be, and the roots that run deep in agriculture and in community through Boone Tractor. Boone has been in Bedford, kicked off in Bedford in 1984.
Oh wow!
For the founding of actual Boone Tractor. The Boone roots run deeper than that as far as the agricultural business goes into their family. But when Joe decided to branch out and start his own thing, that started in 1984, and it started here in Bedford. And the roots have run deep for us to deliver, quality and integrity since then. Tremendous amount of growth that we've seen over almost 40 years, and we're super excited about that. But where we stand now, we stand with 5 locations.
Oh wow!
As we've grown, Bedford being kind of the staple of the Boone Empire. Yeah. But we've got Bedford, we've got a location in Danville. We've got a newly remodeled and up and going location in Salem. Okay. They've done some fantastic things with a remodel, updating the facility there. We were in Wytheville and down next to Max Meadows and Lewisburg, West Virginia.
Oh wow, into West Virginia too.
Yes, so nice. We've branched into West Virginia. We've been there for a few years now. Cool. So just super excited about where we are, the growth we're seeing, and the direction things are moving.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's kind of funny. I think I told Justin Hayden this recently. I was in Bridge Street Cafe a couple months ago when the lieutenant governor was here, and I was kind of like part of her entourage. And everywhere we go, people be like, "What is going on? Like, who is that?" And I'd always just be, "It's Winsome Sears, it's the lieutenant governor." And they're like, "What?" But this couple, they went, "Oh, okay," and they were just kind of standing off to the side in Bridge Street Cafe, and I was like, "Well, what brings you here today?" And they said, "Well, we live in," they either said Fishersville or Troutville. I don't know. It was a fish. And that's all I can remember. But they said, "Oh, we're here to go to Boone Tractor."
Right.
I was like, right on. Like, you came from Fishersville, Troutville, whatever. Like, you had to go to Boone Tractor, huh? And they're like, "Yeah, that's where it's at. That's the place." And that's all they said. And I was like, right on.
Well, we obviously appreciate that for sure, but just because we're local in some of these areas, we really branch out into a lot of areas, and we see a lot of traffic come in from a couple hour and a half, couple hours away.
Yeah.
We're really pushing into our staple for Boone Tractor Bedford anyway, where that's where I am, and we're representing the company as a whole, but also representing Boone Tractor Bedford. Yeah, really hard today for sure. But as we're growing out of Bedford and branching out, we're really pushing into places that our presence hasn't been as strong. Really pushing into Appomattox County and
Nice.
Amherst County and Nelson County, all part of areas that, that we take care of, but the presence just hasn't been as strong as it has in Bedford. So as we're pushing and growing, and we're really going into some new territory, and obviously is, got to give a shout out to Woody for sure. As he continues to help us grow with our advertising and, our social media and different things like that, as he continues to back and support us there, we're branching out into areas that we haven't been before, because, it's the age of technology. People are, seeing Boone Tractor on Facebook. They're seeing us on Twitter. They're seeing us, different places like that. And, you can find us pretty easy in your Google search engine. And then obviously we're on the radio. You see our commercials, things like that. So
and now you're on the podcast.
Now we're on a podcast. We keep going like this. Next thing you know, we're going to be on TikTok.
Please.
So we'll have to figure that out with Woody, because that would be fun to have, some clips on the lots and stuff like that about what we have going on around the lots and the dealerships, just little clips within TikToks. And, so maybe that's something we need to look at. So.
Yeah. Well, for new listeners, for context, Woody Watts is in the corner right now, and he is the owner of Watts Creative Studios. Woody is awesome. He's grinning right now because I'm embarrassing him as much as he embarrasses me. And he works with a lot of local businesses. That's his bread and butter. And so I think, I think it's pretty funny. When yesterday I found out that Watts Creative Studios was the marketing agency for Boone Tractor. I think my first thought, and a lot of people's thoughts right now, is what does a tractor company need with marketing? But I mean, small business, any type of business, you all need marketing.
Absolutely.
And Woody does an excellent job. Like, you guys expanding, pushing out, just getting the word out there. Like, it's not just Woody, it's you guys too, because you recognize the need for it, and you're so willing and open to it.
For sure. And I know this is turned a little bit from Boone Tractor to Watts Creative, but we got to put him on the spot too. But if you're a small business and looking for something, reach out to Woody, because he can find something that meets your needs, and he does. He's done fantastic with us, and my partnership with Woody has significantly grown over the last year, and the partnership that we have, that he helps support me and the business when it comes to our social media, when it comes to our logos, and just the advertising from, again, social, commercial, radio. He helps put all of those things together. One big event that we'll talk about later that we've got coming up that he's helped support, the Amherst County Fair. Handling, getting our logo set up and getting it ready. I mean, he can handle just about anything. And so, if you're looking for somebody that can help you with some of your needs there, don't forget about Woody. So.
We love Woody Watts.
So put him on the spot there a little bit. He likes to put us on the spot, so we'll pull him into it a little bit as well.
Well, cool. Well, yes. Plug for Woody. We'll get back to the fair later, because that sounds so awesome.
For sure. We're super excited about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, first, can you tell me a little bit about your products and your services? When I was in there the other day, I met some of your guys.
Awesome.
And great, excellent customer service.
For sure. So
ridiculously customer service.
So the guys are, we're super busy, which is an amazing thing. But let's start off with our products. So, as far as Boone Tractor, our main lines, New Holland, Massey Ferguson, most of 3 of the 5 locations carry Coyote. We carry Ferris, and those are kind of our main lines. We've got our secondary lines, Wood, Southern, Bush Hog, all of those guys that, that are secondary brands for our implements, things like that. Steel, can't forget Steel. Those guys do fantastic. And you hear me say some of those things, and a lot of people ride by Boone Tractor and they're like, I don't need a big tractor. Well, you know what? That's okay. You don't have to need a big tractor to stop at Boone. Come by Boone, because we take care of our residential folks as well. It doesn't matter if you're cutting a quarter or half acre of grass, or if you've got 500 acres, we can absolutely take care of you. From zero turns, rider mowers, with fair simplicity, the partnerships we have there, Gravely. But then with Steel, that's our handheld, weed eaters, chainsaws, leaf blowers.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
we're going into fall. Leaf season is coming.
Oh, yes.
Come over and see us. Mark is our guy that handles our Steel product and small engine. Man, he would be more than happy to get a brand new leaf blower in somebody's hands. Or that chainsaw as we're getting ready for winter. If somebody needs some extra wood for their fire pit, needs something for, their fireplace in the house, Mark's the man, can get you set up and going. But as a whole, those are all of our major brands. But within the dealership, again, we just don't handle the large agricultural piece. We've got the residential, we've got sales, obviously, parts. So if, you need a part, it doesn't matter whether it's for your hay baler, whether it's for your tractor, or if you need a fuel filter for something as minor as your push mower. We carry all of that stuff, and if we don't have it, we can certainly get it. Chad and his team at the parts counter, they do a fantastic job, especially with service. We keep a wide variety of parts stocked. A lot of times, hey, we do have to order things. We can usually get a pretty quick turnaround on those things, but Chad and his team do fantastic. And then when we go back to the shop, you've got Michael and his team in the service shop. We'll work on any make, model, brand, color.
Oh, wow.
We will work on it. A lot of dealerships just work specific to what what they sell, what they offer. Not Boone. We'll work on anything. So we've got a vast variety of talent in the shop. When it comes to the shop, we've got, guys that are focused on small engine, that they just do, steel product or lawnmowers or, different things like that. We've got a guy in the shop that focuses more towards subcompact tractors. So anything that runs from about 20 to about 40 horsepower. That's kind of his niche and his specialty. Then we've got our guys on the ag side of the shop, that have years of experience. I'd be willing to put, my guys up, against any team, any competitor, anything like that. With, Josh and Clinton back there in the shop, they've got, background from, one of the guys has a lot of John Deere background, but specializes even in older equipment. But, the two of them together make a dynamic team, and they do a fantastic job. So, again, don't just stop in and think we're going to sell you something. You can leave with a big tractor. You can leave with a lawnmower. You can leave with the parts you need, from air filters to tires to oil, whatever you may need there. We've got a line of, New Holland tractor toys. Bring the kids in, bring the grandkids in. We've got hats, toys, you got, your grandson or granddaughter that want to get out there with you while you're trying to cut firewood. We'll set them up with one of the toy chainsaws where they can be right out there with you.
Toy chainsaw, what?
Absolutely. Chainsaws, weed eaters, but we've got it, the tractors, pedal tractors,
Oh
so
my gosh.
you're not just coming in for all your big ag needs. Bring the kids in too, because we've got stuff that, they'll start screaming as soon as they walk in the door.
Please.
So
It's true. I'm already thinking, I've got a 9-year-old cousin, and he's in the Stant River zone. So him and all his friends, like, they love running through fields. They love riding their dirt bikes, like everything. He would love a toy chainsaw, toy leaf blower, any of that stuff. Like, he would go crazy with it.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Again, we've got something to cover, to cover everybody across the board. So, again, there, pop in, see myself, see a member of the team, Jason and Sean in sales, they're the inside salesmen. Jason's been around for years.
Wow.
I think Jason's probably working 18, 20 years that he's been around.
Wow.
Been through all avenues of the shop.
Yeah.
Is in sales now. Most people, when they walk in the door, if they don't know Jason, they know of Jason. So he does a fantastic job there. And then Sean's been with us. He's newer, but Sean's still been with us 5 or 6 years and has established
Very good
himself.
retention
So
then.
we've got a sales team that, is second to none. And that's our drive, is to continue to build the Boone Tractor name into a household brand. And that when people say Boone Tractor, is, hey, you need to go see these guys. They're going to take care of you.
I think you're definitely on the way there for sure.
Absolutely. Just like anything with growth, you've got to work through hiccups and changes, and, that brings new challenges. And when you're super busy, there's going to be a hiccup here or there, but, we're always going to do everything we can to make it right and to make sure that, that we make sure we get that customer first.
And I also, you're such a positive person. Like, you really are. You have such like a good, like, happy cadence the way you talk and name dropping all your guys. Like, well, I think it's awesome. Like, you clearly care about your team. You have a great team.
They're the ones that make it happen every day. I can show up, but if you show up and say, hey, you've got to do this by yourself, you might as well hang it up. But, we will give it a good, valiant go. But my team's what makes it happen every day. They put the blood, sweat, and tears in. And, to be able to have a team that we've built and the knowledge, the background that they have, it is definitely a privilege to be able to work with a lot of the talent that we have. And, to be able to be with those guys side by side, every day. And they certainly lead the business, and they do a fantastic job at it.
Well, I think everything you've said about your team, it makes me happy because, I mean, like I said, I was just in there the other day. So I was in there. I had never been in Boone Tractor before. Okay. That place is crazy big.
Well, what'd you think?
I thought it was cool. I don't know anything about tractors, and I didn't walk around too much, but there was a good amount of people in the shop. Everybody was super nice to me. The guys, I asked them to leave something on your desk, and they were jumping at the chance to do it, which was so funny because they were like, oh, are you going to do it? And he was like, no, I'm going to do it. I was like, oh, why don't you both go? But it was really cool. And I just wasn't expecting it to be quite as an experience as it is to walk in there.
For sure. And again, a lot of people think of, oh, well, we're going to walk in and, see a bunch of big, but when you walk in the showroom, we've got a decent sized showroom. Man. And you walk in and we've got our retail space for again, toys, apparel, steel, our mowers, they're all inside. Parts retail from, everything you need there. So, I mean, to walk in, it's not just walking into a sales team and somebody in your face. You walk into, a Boone Tractor experience.
Yes, you do.
So,
for sure. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add about the shop, about your services? Do you guys, when people ask you to fix your things, do they need to bring it to the shop itself, or do you do any, like home services?
Well, fantastic question. I'm glad you brought that up. So, when it comes to what we offer, and in the shop, we're growing, we're expanding, we're getting ready to start adding some staff to the shop. So exciting. We're super excited about the growth phase that we're in right now to be able to better serve. So when it comes to that, yes, you can bring something to the shop, but we've also got the technicians that can come to you in the field.
Awesome.
So that's a huge piece, especially on the agricultural side. With our technicians we have there, we can put them in a truck. They can come right to the farm, and they can work your balers down in the field. They can come work on it. Now, if it gets too major, too complex, it's a whole lot easier to have it in the shop. But we can certainly put a truck in the field, and we can make some things happen right there on the ground versus having to worry about hours of transport time or anything like that. So, to be able to go to the field, that's a huge piece. So right now, agriculturally, with the tractors, the balers, things like that, we can do things in the field. One of our things that we're a goal that we're pushing towards for the spring next year is to have the growth to be able to put small engine in the field as well.
Cool.
So when it comes to, hey, your lawnmower needs to be serviced, or, your lawnmower breaks down, you've got a flat tire, you've got things like that, that we can put small engine in the field as well, where they can come to the house, they can come to the farm, whatever it may be with that piece, that we're doing more and more, able to offer more and more services that are convenient for, convenient for the consumer, convenient for the customer, because it's not always easy to, a lot of people have a lawnmower or have things like that, but they may not have a truck and trailer or things like that. So we're saying that if we do need to bring it to the shop, if there's going to be a lag time with getting something in, hey, we offer those services as well. We can come pick it up and we can get it to the shop. We can deliver it. And so there's, a lot of different things that, again, there we offer that a lot of people don't always think about day in and day out. We've got, drivers on staff that handle all of that for us. We do some outsourcing work as well. One of my drivers that's newer to the company, he does an amazing job. Jackson's our driver there. And, we've been able the last few weeks, I've gotten a couple phone calls that says, hey, I'm dealing with somebody and I want to buy something, but I don't have a way to move it. Can you guys help? Absolutely.
Nice.
So we've been able to step in. One was up next to West Virginia. One was, moving a tractor from Madison Heights to Fincastle with somebody that bought something. So, if you run across something and you need a piece of equipment moved, we can also work with you in that as well.
Boone Tractor is in for the long haul.
Hey.
Yeah. In all ways.
Got that right.
Yeah.
Always. So.
Well, cool. That is awesome. I'm glad that I asked, because I was thinking, you got a huge tractor that breaks down. How the hell are you going to get into the shop?
Well, that comes different ways. We can go to the field or we can come get it. So we've got the equipment to do that too. So.
Well, excellent. So back to the fair.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about your community involvement. Tell me about the fair. I need to know all the details.
So community involvement, and that is somewhere that I would say probably over the last couple of years, we have really, we've really seen a lot of growth. And I think a lot of that has even become with the involvement with Woody as well. For me, that's a huge piece of the business. Yes, we're here. We're in business. Obviously, we're here to sell tractors and lawnmowers and sell parts and service and things like that. That's just the nature of the beast. But we're also here to support the community, and that's a huge passion, especially of mine. Yeah. And then the leadership of Boone as well. So a lot of community involvement. We work with, out of Bedford specifically, we work with the FFA, Future Farmers of America. So at Liberty High School, Stanton River, I work, a lot with those guys, the folks that lead those teams. We did a pretty cool thing. We'll have another one coming up before too long. We did a diagnostics challenge in the shop at Boone, where they brought that's actually a competition for the FFAs.
My sister was an FFA at Liberty, so I'm familiar. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, good to know.
Miss T is the queen.
Okay. Awesome. But, they come in and we bring a couple tractors in the shop, and, our technicians kind of rig them up where they won't run or operate. Nice. And the FFA comes in and they go to doing diagnostics and see what they can figure out, what's wrong, what do we need to do to get it going. And they're on a time competition of who can find the errors and who can ultimately get their tractor going. Yeah. So, huge with FFA, but even with, the local high schools and starting to branch out, we have involvement with, Liberty High School, with Stanton River, myself, and then the Salem location, brand new partnership with Lord Botetourt.
Nice.
So supporting the football program there, supporting the cheerleading program there as well, but, looking to branch into, again, different FFA programs. So, if you're listening and you're tied into somebody other than those few, hey, reach out, because, we want to be able to help and support, whether it's going out for competitions or whatever it may be. 4-H involvement that, that we're in. The county fairs, we will talk about that in just a moment, but even with
but you have a passion for agriculture with youth specifically.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's, at some point, they're our future.
They are.
And where do they stand with agriculture? And yes, they can get it on the farm and stuff like that, but there may be folks that are interested in, agriculture, but they don't farm. Maybe they want to work on tractors, or maybe they want to sell parts for tractors, or
maybe they don't know.
Right. Or maybe they don't know, or they want to sell them. There are opportunities and all of that. We've got some part-time guys that work in the shop that help us do some work around the lot, some different things in the shop that, they were part-timers and they got tied to us through FFA. So, I try to keep, one or two guys on staff that are part-time that are tied into FFA.
Awesome.
Different things like that, because again, hey, we've got to have somebody to replace us at some point. So, we want that knowledge to be there. We want these, young folks to grow with the knowledge of, of the business, because that's going to be what carries us into tomorrow as well. So, we've got a great partnership, community involved. We've got a partnership with South Boston Speedway.
Oh, wow.
That's through, our Danville location. And again, they're tied into all of their local schools, but we just put in Franklin County. We are sponsoring a young gentleman, and I'll have to apologize. I am drawing a blank on his name.
That's okay.
But we've got Boone Tractor plastered on the hood of a race car now.
What?
So, yeah.
That is so cool. Wait. So you're sponsoring him to be in the speedway?
Yeah, absolutely. So
is he a student? Is he?
He's a younger gentleman. He has a lot of, apparently a lot of talent to drive.
Awesome.
The Salem location, kind of tied in there.
Yeah.
And several of us, we all went in together on the sponsorship. So that's cool. Really cool to see. He actually won this weekend at Franklin County. He's had, I think the last few races had some good top 5 finishes.
Yeah.
But this weekend he won at Franklin County Speedway. So it's nice, it was great to see Boone Tractor in victory lane.
Right.
And, you see, you talk about advertising, you see, a lot of our advertising, pop up during ball games, during races, things like that as well. But back to our community piece, we run deep with the community, and yes, it does put the Boone Tractor name out there as well, but more so it's about the involvement in the community and some things events we have coming up. You'll see us at Centerfest.
Nice.
That's coming up in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
We do a lot with, I'm going to throw a plug in for Heather Alto and the Central Virginia Business Coalition. We work with those guys, some as well. We work with you guys with, some events, and certainly growing with, with the chamber there. But, we've got Centerfest coming up. We've got our big event. Well, before we get to the fair, we've got the Barron's Cattleman Ball. That's in Salem. That's a big thing for the American Cancer Society.
Okay, cool.
So we're sponsoring some things there. So we'll have a presence at, the Barron's Cattleman's Ball. Super excited to go and be a part of that. They do some fantastic things with the fundraising, the money they raise there that, go back into, like I said, the American Cancer Society. So again, community, giving and stuff like that is very important for us. Our big event coming up, we're super excited about the Amherst County Fair.
Yeah.
So something brand new for us that, we've never really done before. We've gone and we've been, a part of the fairs and set up booths, things like that, but we are actually sponsoring the Amherst County Fair. So Woody has seen a lot of different things with some of that. So some pretty exciting things there that, not only is the face of Amherst County going to be there, but Boone Tractor is
The title sponsor.
the title sponsor
Awesome.
and the pivot around the fair. So the Amherst County Fair, that will run October 19th through the 22nd.
Cool.
Eric Bowen, he is the Amherst County Extension agent. He kind of heads up putting the fair together. So the fair's only been in existence back for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
So, they've done some fantastic things this year. They haven't announced yet. Can't really say yet, but especially on Saturday night, they've got a national headliner that's coming through that'll be playing Saturday night at the fair.
So cool.
So, really, really excited about that. So put it on your calendar. Yes, it's a little bit of a drive and goes outside of Bedford, but hey, for, a Friday night, Saturday night activity, come out, we're going to have a huge booth set up, a large presence with, we're going to have tractors and toys and, different things like that. Our team will be on site as well, but you can come out and obviously if you go to the fair, you've got to have a funnel cake. So that's my favorite part of the fair. Everybody wants to go look at the livestock and look at stuff and ride the Ferris wheel.
It's the fair food, man.
I want a funnel cake. That's why I'm going to the fair. But so we're super excited about that. And then obviously as we go into fall, there'll be different events that we're involved in. And then going into Christmas, I know that's a dreaded word and everybody's like, Christmas is coming. But hey, it's coming and it's coming quick. So hey, don't forget about Boone Tractor. Dad needs a chainsaw for Christmas.
Please.
Dad needs a mower for Christmas. Hey,
stock that man's shed, huh?
Right, that's
for
right.
Christmas.
Not only that, don't forget to put about a toy tractor under the Christmas tree.
That's
true. We've got all the things to take care of that. But the exciting part for Christmas, where we've started really getting involved, are the Christmas parades.
Mm-hmm.
So huge presence in the Bedford Christmas parade last year. This year we'll be doing not only Bedford, but the Lynchburg Christmas parade, and then looking at other options as well for, other local parades that, that we can get involved with there also.
Well, nice. That was quite the list. I just have to say it. I mean, you sound like me at the beginning, rambling off all these things. Well, awesome. You guys are super involved. There's a lot of great things coming up. I've got October 19th, 22nd stuck in my head so that I won't miss it. But if people want to find out, see all of these events all at once, are they on your website? Are they on your Facebook? What's the best way to do it?
Best place to find some of that is going to be through our social media.
Okay.
We got a growing presence there, so a lot of these events, and we're doing better with it, keeping the Facebook page up to date. That's going to be one of the easiest ways to get a hold of that. Or or just, reach out to us. You can reach out to us at the office there and, stop by and see us. We've got, different things there. So, I mean, as far as, reaching out to us, how do you reach out to us? You can reach out to us, by phone, 800-430-3437.
Nice.
That'll give you the generic and let you dial what location you want. So that'll ask you if you're looking for Bedford or Salem or Danville, Wytheville, Lewisburg. It gives you the option of who you want to reach out to there locally, again, or stop by and see us right on Main Street as you come off of 460 going into downtown Bedford. We're there Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We're there on Saturdays, 8 to 12.
Nice. Well, awesome. And you also mentioned that you have a couple rooms for employment at Boone Tractor. Do you want to briefly touch on that?
Absolutely. So, as a team, we're constantly growing, as a business, we want to grow. So, if you have interest and, in being part of, an agricultural business, whether it's sales, parts, service, we've got an accounting team. So there's opportunities across the board. Reach right out to us. Call one of the locations, reach out to myself in Bedford, reach out to one of the other store managers. We'll be more than glad to talk to you about opportunities that we have, what may be coming up, and certainly get somebody in to sit down and talk to them and, see how maybe they fit as part of the team and how we can continue to grow.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Absolutely. It's been super exciting. It's been
Yeah.
great to sit down and have the interaction face to face, but just to be able to sit down and, tell the community, even more what Boone Tractor's about and who we are.
Well, awesome. I think I've gotten an excellent picture of who you guys are, and I hope that our listeners have the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you again for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Of course. And if anybody has any questions for the chamber, you can go on our website, bedfordareachamber.com, see all of our events, all our benefits, everything. Or you can give us a ring at 540-586-9401. All right. Thank you guys for listening, and keep an eye out for the next Chamber Vibes podcast.